right. Today we want to introduce you to our new module called platform management. But before I dive into this area called scripted actions, I want to share a little story of XOAP and where we come from. So basically, I'm responsible for everything you see here. So that's a cloud-native software as a service application, completely automated from a deployment perspective. So everything you see here is roundabout, I don't know, I shared it last time in Berlin, a few 100,000 lines of code. It's Terraform code, it's front-end code, it's Docker image definitions, different kind of scripts to get this thing up and running. And what many people don't see maybe, so this is like one web page, but it isn't. Those are micro front ends. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 front ends running side by side to show you the information we have here. Every of these modules has an API. Every of these APIs has a repository, developers working on it. The backend infrastructure for this, as I said, completely built out of Terraform with around about 100 different modules that we've written. Those modules, again, split into different stacks with a solution called TerraGrunt to be able to deploy like networking stacks completely differentiated from the database stacks and so on, to be as flexible as possible to deploy that infrastructure and get all those things up and running. And now if I look at our GitHub repository here, and I hope you can see that, just to make the proof. So 203 repositories here. We have supporting things for scripted actions. I will go into the details here with that. We have PowerShell DSC module templates that we are providing. We have Terraform module templates that we've created on our own to support everything that we need to get our infrastructure up and running. And if we dive a little bit deeper into those topics, so I will just go maybe into the, where is it? Platform management repository. You see the master branch is empty. I said yesterday we are still in development. So we will release that to master next week. And we have a development branch. I will go in there as well and explain a little bit the odds of doing infrastructure automation as well. So we are around about 85 releases until now. All of those releases are versioned. If you are building such an application or also infrastructure as code in large enterprise environments, it's not only in the end what you see, what you deploy, what you're actually configured. It's about getting a team together, communicating, organizing yourselves, defining standards for development. That's why we have different kind of versioning systems for the things we provide. We have semantic versioning for Terraform modules, for example. So every time we change something so that we can interchange those modules when we are ready to deploy them to production, we version everything automatically. We use GitHub Actions in the backend to create automated documentation, to create those releases, to inform other modules of updates. And the other thing that we take care of is also defining standards so that every developer in the end is using the same structure of describing what he actually changed. To have like a change log that you can read and see what you've done and not have something like fix or fixes, or I fixed like, I don't know, the fix of somebody else. That is the overhead you typically don't see when you start with infrastructure as code. And besides that, maybe we can have a look at this commits here, comparing changes. So you see minor changes, bad example, but that was in 2022, so it's fine. And then we started like implementing naming conventions here like chore and other kind of things to make this really a usable changelog in the end. And we as XOAP made one error in the beginning when we got here. We tried to sell you that whole shit story here with all the things you have to do. And many people were overwhelmed by the things we were telling them. So last week, I think you got a feedback from one guy who told, oh, after 2 years, I actually now understand what you guys are doing.
Because he found the old presentation on Git.
Okay, cool. So a much too large story to tell in 1, 2, 3, 5, or 10 E2Es, because there's so much things you have to take care of. So we thought about what could be the first step to bring you that automation stuff a little bit, show it easier to you and make it easier to also to our customers as well, because they're also struggling with those topics. So how do I start actually? What should I do? Should I use Terraform, Pulumi? I don't know, cloud native stuff. And the thing that we very fast figured out is, so I'm pretty sure if I ask you, are you able to write PowerShell scripts? Everybody will say yes. So it's a no-brainer actually. For infrastructure guys who are not developers. So if you ask developers, they will say, oh, PowerShell, not mine, but from a usage perspective, for us that we do automation stuff, and it doesn't matter what we are actually automating, PowerShell I think is a very good thing to go with. And that's why we started scripted actions as a very simple approach, a first step to go with our customers and with you who are interested in the topic to start together the automation journey. And what you can see here, scripted actions, publicly available, so that is something you can have a look at, because all the examples that I will show you today are actually stored here. And you can see that we have folders for AWS CLI, AWS PowerShell, the same for Azure. We already have some things here saved for Bicep based deployments that's not available yet, but we will get that also in the next week up and running to actually support you with starting your automation journey. And if I go a little bit deeper into this topic, and that's actually a local copy of this repository, we are providing templates you can use to start writing scripts based on those technologies that we have here. So you can use this thing, put a description in it. We also have some parameter examples that we are supporting from a PowerShell perspective. So if I go a little bit deeper here down, you can see there's a lot of different types of parameters that you can use, that when you put that script into our XOAP platform for scripted actions, it will directly look at those things and show you the things in the front end and make them configurable. And as Guy said in the session before, so you shouldn't hard code anything. That's the principle behind that, and also the principle everywhere what we do in the XOAP platform. Make that as dynamic as possible. And now let's have a look at maybe one of those examples here. So you can see I'm in the AWS CLI stuff here. I have this CLI create S3 bucket script to make a deployment of an S3 bucket. And you can see, okay, I have 2 defined parameters with a placeholder here to make it available and a validate set, so that actually you cannot put in garbage into these parameters when you're filling out a parameter form. And that's basically it. We also have this error extra preference being set to stop. That's a very simple reason. So if we put that in our platform, actually if we run that thing, we start a container, and if something goes wrong, the container should just stop doing stuff, give you a log file and tell you what's actually happening, because otherwise this thing could run maybe forever if you don't get to know what you actually have done wrong. And now, how do we get such kind of scripts if we...
Your comment a bit off, I guess.
What is off?
Your comment says set error action to silently continue.
Thank you. Let's make that smaller here. Yeah.
And it's on tape now.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much. That's true. It was.
We are not only here.
Yeah, very nice. So actually, yeah, it was before set to silently continue, and then we changed it. Thank you very much.
You did that during Guy's session because he said.
Yeah. Sure. So how do we now get to XOAP? Let's go back. and check what we got here.
Sorry, question. Sorry if I missed this. Why are you using the AWS CLI within PowerShell instead of like AWS?
It's just a matter of choice. So because for Azure, for instance, you have different functionality sets depending on if you're using PowerShell or CLI, and they like you have more use cases using the one or the other. So you can I can go through a list to maybe make that a little bit.
Oh, no, I was just curious. So just so you know, like any API that's released within AWS CLI, we supported PowerShell within my.
That's nice. So Microsoft side is maybe then a little bit different. So if you look at, that's why you're here. Yeah. So if you look at, for example, this AWS CLI example here, you see there's like a short list of things you can do. So if you, for example, want to log off a user from your Azure Virtual Desktop, you have to use the PowerShell, not the CLI, because there's this command available. And that's the reason for us, it's very simple to just add one or the other module and make it available. So that maybe makes that a little bit clearer. So right, let's talk a little bit about the XOAP platform. So first thing you have to do before you start with scripted actions is actually go to the connections part. And in the connections, you define which accounts, which subscriptions you actually want to connect and manage with the XOAP platform. So you go to plus, choose whatever you want, AWS or Azure, put in the service principal information. And as soon as you did that, you are actually able to either use image management to spin up new images that you can also then deploy VMs from with scripted actions, and I will show that in a minute. Or you can use in platform management, depending on what script you want to run. For example, if I look at this create EC2 instance, and I hope you can see it in the back, I'm not sure. So EC2, create instance. You can go here into the details, and you can define which of those connections to use. So, and you can not only use one connection, so we have some customers asking us, what if you want to create some sort of baseline security things in our account structure? You can actually add as much connections as you want to run that script against to set some sort of baselines. And that's also one of the use cases we have in image management. For example, we have a lot of MSPs asking, how can I create like baselines for our customers? So you can create different workspaces. So everything you see here is a workspace. And you can spin up different workspaces to support your customers, but use the same baseline configurations and all around that, and scripts to have a standardized way of providing infrastructure to them. And we also have like consultants who support their customers with one workspace, and they are like just adding the connection to the customer and then doing stuff. So based on the connections then you created and the script you've chosen, you can then, as I said, put the connection information here, and you're good to go. What else can you do? So actually, when you upload that script, and that's done in resources, and here's a filter on it, so I'll remove that. And I'll just use the one that I had here. So this AW create S3 bucket, I'll put that here. If it's already available, I can override it. I go to next. I can adjust description. And if I create a text, I have centralized text here. I can also like give it a tag. Let's use this one here. Click save, click next. The resource is added, and now it's in my resources thing. The same applies not only to scripted actions, but for scripts you want to use in image management, license files, installation files, FSLogix, rule sets, wallpapers. So whatever you might be dreaming of to deploy it, you can upload it here. Are also able to look into the details here. You can edit the resource content. So once you uploaded the resource file here, you can edit it directly, save it. So everything you need to like manage those resources, you can see it. Then here we also have activity log. So we are logging who was the last one who changed something, who uploaded it, when was the last time, and so on. And what we are also doing, and that's something that's very important, if you use resources from this resources area here below, we also track where is this resource actually used, so that nobody gets to the resources area and deletes the script you may be using in a scripted action. Yep.
Is there also version control for these resources?
Not yet. We are having version control for the desired state configurations, but we will add this to the resources here as well, because it totally makes sense. If somebody changes something, you need to be able to choose the specific version that you changed. So, good question, yeah, thank you. And that's basically it. So I now have it in resources. The next step I actually do is I go to scripted actions. I have this plus button here. I choose the script, S3. Let's give it a name. S3 bucket. I can again give it like some tags to make it easier for me to see it in the overview. I'll skip the description. And now I go to next. And you see based on, sorry, thick fingers. Based on the parameters we defined here with the bucket name and the bucket region, we now have a bucket name that we can put in a name here. And yeah, that's required, that's true. So I set it in the script to required, that's why it's in the front end here as well as required. And I have a list of those validate set things that I created. So now I can go just here, EU West. Bucket name, Jesus. I don't know what's free, so let's give it something, I don't know. And click on next. Then I get to the connection selection area where I use this AWS for sure. So it's AWS based. And now you see it's added here below and it's with no runs. And the last thing I have to do is I just click on run to get this thing up and running. So I don't have to take care of the authorization because I'm using the connection area that is taking care of me in the container. So we are not sending sorry? The credential, yes. Yeah, we are not sending the credentials. We are using the variables in the container. So as soon as the container is finished with its work, we are actually done and everything is reset to like it was before.
And you can then also schedule it. So you have also a job scheduler that will keep track of everything. Or it's more like
that's another good question, because scheduling we are already working in the backend. So that will be the next thing after we deployed that to production. So you will be able. We will add another central area here called schedules, where you can define schedules, and you can then assign the schedules either to your image management runs, to run them daily, monthly, whatever, or at specific dates, your birthday, for example. And the same thing we will apply to scripted actions. So you will be able to schedule those scripted actions. And another thing that we are also adding to the platform is, for example, if you want to create an EC2 instance, and I would always write those scripts as minimal as possible to not put too much things into those scripts, to have them as small as possible, Lego principle. You need an EC2 key pair to spin up EC2 instance. That's why we are working on dependencies, because you can first run this in dependency, run the VM creation script, and in the end you have like a workflow you can define to get things up and running. Yeah, I typically do that when I have white theme, because I typically, yeah. So yeah, a little bit of yin and yang. So Let's have a look at our AWS account that I'm using here for testing, for demo purposes, so you can see. Thank you very much. We have no key pairs here. So let's go with the key pair and just see what's done there. So, Jesus, what happened? Wait a second. Key pair. So that's our development environment. Everything can happen, just saying. Key pair. There it is. Key pair called E2EVC Madrid. Very simple. Let's go back and run that thing. So this will now take a few seconds. The state might change to running. You can see it. So, and what we can do here now is the container will be started in the backend, and that's what I meant when I started with that story about the complexity of getting infrastructure as code running. We have customers who are struggling for weeks to get a pipeline up and running for just create an Azure virtual desktop image. We can do it in 50 minutes. I showed it in Berlin. And here with scripted actions, you don't have to take care of pipelines, of anything else. You just put the script into it, configure the variables, and then run it. There it is. So, EC2 key pair, successful, it's there, and I can continue with my deployment of stuff. So, very fast, very simple to create different kinds of infrastructure components. Next thing I can do, let's go and see what we have here. Create an EC2 instance. I'm using an AMI ID that I've chosen from AWS. One of the next iterations, we will directly make the image IDs that you created in image management selectable, so that the images you created in image management, you can directly choose them here in the scripts and choose the also versioned images that you ran and insert them here as a parameter. You can define the instance count, so that's how the script looks like that I created. So if we go back to the script, again, very simple example, some parameters, using this kind of commands with the parameters here. That's actually what it's all about. Use the key pair name that we created, and that's also something I said in the beginning that will grow over time. And what we will also add in the future is that you have direct access to the accounts and subscriptions you added, so you will be able to choose the security groups, key pairs, or whatever to make it even easier without having to look at the console here at this specific time. And also, you see it here, security group, subnets, IDs, so this will be available also instantly. And if I go back, create that EC2 instance, click on run, that's basically it. You can go to instances and now wait for the moment until those instance is created and available. And the same for Azure. So you can build out of very simple scripts where you don't have to put too much effort into it to learn Terraform, Pulumi, CloudFormation, or whatever you want to choose. Just use PowerShell and spin up infrastructure components based on what you actually need. And for a lot of customers, that is totally enough for their daily work, because you can also use XOAP as a platform to, we have some sort of role-based access control here as well. You could create those scripts, make them available here, create the scripted actions, and hand that over to somebody from operations who's not able to do that, or vice versa. So you can use XOAP as a management platform for yourself, or give other people access to your cloud platforms where you don't want them to be actually in there. So you don't want to give them access to the console or whatever. You can just hand that over with the platform here and make that available for everybody.
Or you manage different customers who can add connection strings to the platform so the customer can connect.
So there it is. Very simple. So I can now stop this thing, terminate this thing. There are all the scripts available. Maybe let's go to something else and create a Windows. Upsala. What I totally forgot. Yeah. Most important thing. You
Question?
sure.
You have all these scripted actions, and you can then also combine them into a run group. Like let's say you want to prepare for, a deployment of a customer, and you prepare a bunch of
Yeah.
things together, okay, that you can reuse for the next customer or something.
That's the idea behind it, yes, to make it as variable as possible, because you just hand over the parameters to the platform, and in the platform you define actually what you want to do. So
yeah, but also an order of installation, right?
yeah, that's what I meant with schedules and dependencies, so that you have dependence trees. So that's something we will do. And if you look at bicep kind of thing, you can go even harder if you want to. So if you look at bicep files, so that's again the next level of automation. And I think to make the first step and make simple things available, those AWS CLI, Azure CLI, PS examples are totally good to get like a feeling and a starting point where you automate your infrastructure. What we are also taking care of, and that's one of the most important factors that we also have, is everything you put in here, you can also download it. So we are not like a black box where you put stuff in like, I don't know who's using DSM and writing e-scripts and now has to move everything over to another solution because you were like one direction stuck here. So everything you put here, from scripts to configuration management stuff, so all is downloadable. So if you feel that we suck as a solution, you can get it out and do it in another way. So, but we are very confident that it might be a good thing to use that in the examples that we have.
To add something to this question.
Yep.
If you see it in the console, in image management, configuration management, you have the single unit, then you have a group and a row. So you combine the scripts to a group and then maybe to a row, and you can then execute the whole AVD instance with all components you need, for example.
Yeah, we have.
Because the idea is also, if you have this API and you have a call from external, for example, controller, you have a metric, you send it to SOAP and say spin up an AVD environment, or add pools to my systems to my pool, whatever. Yeah, you can do everything.
Yes.
So you can, for example, let's say I'm a consultant using SOAP for a customer. I can then export these configuration and go to another customer. They buy SOAP and you import that again to your baseline already.
Yes.
And if you do a managed service, you can add all customers.
Bless you.
Customer allows you to connect his cloud connection directly to the console you are using. Yeah, it's faster than peaks. So we can do all the deployments, yeah, and just disconnect and then also.
Sorry.
No, that's totally fine. I'm just listening to you. So. All right. Did I run that thing? I'm not sure. Let's go back to scripted actions.
There's also something like a community edition where we can play around with it.
Typically, we have a 30-day trial yet, but we're working on a free plan to have something that you can just use.
And also plan for IT partners.
It's anyway so cheap, yeah. So.
It's not cheap.
Price versus. The basic license is altogether 337 euros a month, 100 nodes included. Yeah, so it's not really.
Yeah, we have 100 nodes included here in configuration management. Platform is added to every module we have at no additional cost currently. So whatever you choose, image management or config management, you always get those scripted actions as well at no additional cost. So look at the Microsoft side, another example. I have a resource group. I want to add also a VM with this name here in Azure location, Germany, West Central, with the image name I actually created with image management here above. So that's a URN. If I go out, and that's something that I find very cool, that I like more on the Azure side and then the AWS side, because you can instantly run commands very simple also inside the Azure VMs. And for AWS, I'm being bound to this SSM client that I have to install. So I will show you how easy it is to create a Windows VM in Azure and assign it here in XOAP for further management. So Let's run this thing. Might also take a little bit of time. So if there are any questions.
Can you see the progress of a script you just learned?
You can see the progress when you look on the, you have it running here, you have active runs here, and you can go here, and as soon as the next stage in the Docker container is finished, you get the log file and see what's actually happening. So now it's very early, it's starting up, but you can always get the last log file. And what you also see is like a list of past runs, so where you can track the progress. And if you go here into the details, you also have the past runs for this specific scripted actions, and you can see who ran it, what was the status, and so on. And with
click on the failed one, what do you see then?
On the what?
On the failed one, or what?
This is being recorded, Pete, and you don't want.
You
can get clear.
You just get the feedback that you used the wrong image name. You should use the URN, so it will take you. You get the feedback what you actually done wrong, and that's all. That's the output from the PowerShell actually what you get here. So easy way to track actually what's going wrong. Other questions? There it is. Created this. We am now in Azure, and I hope it's already running. So I will run this thing here as well. So what it does is actually, it runs a PowerShell script inside the virtual machine, connects the virtual machine to this workspace here in XOAP, and assigns it to a configuration management group. So if I go here into configuration management, and that's what we were missing in the past. So the missing piece between image management and config management, because you couldn't spin up infrastructure for this. So image management, you create your image templates on your cloud providers of your choice. Then you spin up the infrastructure with the platform management part. Then you register the nodes that you deployed to the different cloud platforms and manage them with configuration management, so services. Node is actually a machine, yes. So if you look at this nodes part here, nodes are machines. So we have Windows 10 Enterprise, for example, here as an example. Let's see. Because that's the PowerShell DSC naming for node configuration. So, but let's see. Maybe it was too early and the script failed. It's still running, so let's give it another second. So, other questions right now that we can answer you. Does it make sense?
How are you handling your stored secrets to tie into these platforms?
The stored secrets?
Yeah, are you using, have you got some built-in thing, or you hook into something like HashiCorp Vault?
Yeah.
Yes,
in the backend. We are using Secret Vault for that and storing all the passwords for every of those workspaces dedicatedly. So we are not mixing anything together. Every workspace is totally dedicated thing to differentiate between the customers and the workspaces.
When you log in through the website, you create an account, yeah? So we are creating your workspace instantly. So in 15 seconds, and then you get a completely separate instance for you, which we can't interfere in any way, yeah? So you have to give us support access from the console, otherwise we can't support you.
Yeah.
This is the way how it works.
Yeah, we have this portal called XOAP, where you register, you log in, and from there you are able to create as much subscription workspaces. So every workspace is a subscription basically, but you can create as much workspaces as you like, and you get like an ID for the workspace that's totally yours. And here everything that you have inside is totally dedicated for your environment.
You can also set permission role-based.
You can add users to it. So yeah, you can go here and add users, invite users, making them administrators, so giving them access to everything, or give them permission on a certain level of module. That's also something that we will adjust to have more possibilities, right? Read access and stuff like that. But currently it's on a module level. So you can give access to modules currently for different users.
So maybe from the data security side,
There it is.
Martin, yeah, so this is probably the hardest thing in Europe probably, yeah, and so we got approval from them as well as Mario could set on all the VSC standards.
The workspaces are running on VCC, right?
So sorry, is there some kind of API to get into that? But just as an example, where I am, no human ever gets to see any credential at any point ever. Like everything has to be driven by code, right? So if I want to hook into your platform, right, I need some level of extensibility. So when the secrets are generated, they just get automatically passed into the back end via some kind of API, because at no point can any human possibly get at them. That's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, that's what I meant with there's no sending those credentials during the script. When we create a container, we hand over the environment variables for the login into Azure and stuff.
I get that, but I'm saying to get the items into the secret vault to then feed the variables, how will I get my details in there?
You create them once and then you're not able to change them anymore. So you're not able to see what connections you created, for example here. If you go to connections, you can see there's only like a delete button. So whatever you created here as a connection with the secrets we created, we cannot see it and no other user can see it. So you have to change something.
Can I API that, right? Is there an API?
We have an API for everything here. So same role-based access control like the users that we see, and that will also be extended for that purpose. So yeah, I showed it just a minute ago. So machine is registered here. We can go into the details. We can see PowerShell DSC configuration was applied. So that's something like a Windows Server 2022 optimization configuration. And that's basically it from my side. Any questions? We have 5 minutes left. Yes.
I know you're working on supporting on-prem
Yes.
Image building.
Yep.
How's your progress?
Maybe Barcelona, yeah. We're working on it. So we will add Google first as the next cloud provider, and then we will work on on-premises environments. We have things like Nutanix in mind and VMware as well. So we will add that.
Why not Sensor?
You do not have to answer.
Yeah. Is Alex here? No. Huh? Okay. Any other questions? Yep.
This isn't like a managed console, right? Like they deploy your console in their environment. Or is it like a manage the console for them?
So the customer manages his environment on his own. So.
Okay. Is there like an automation they deploy then? It creates like the web server for this and all that?
No, it's we are completely cloud-based. So we have nothing in the customer environment that's running here.
Okay. Well, so I guess that's my question. Like this actual front end, like do you manage that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. So they give you essentially roles to assume for you to call things.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe you can bring up a connector proxy, so connect XO.
Yeah, that's basically also the topic here we had with those on-prem environments, so that we will have some sort of connecting appliance in the future, because currently what we do here, that's everything is pulled from the nodes. So we are not pushing anything to the nodes, because the technology is like the node is once registered and then goes out of the customer environment, pulls the stuff that he wants to have from the backend here, and we are not going actively inside of the environment. But that might change with a Connect XO client that Christian just said, so that we can do additional stuff. All right. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.